Welcome back to Republic. So we're inside of Zager's hideout here, but we just finished up, so let's go ahead and leave and hope that the guard that I pepper sprayed before is not still too angry. Because I can't seem to actually switch to a camera outside of here, so I'm not sure what's going on outside of here. So there's nothing I can do but just go through the vent and pray to God. Okay, we're good. I wonder, can I have her manually activate this? No, I don't think I can. No, it looks like I can't. Okay. It kind of makes sense, because obviously you wouldn't want to activate something to distract a guard when she's actually at the place where the guard is going to be attracted to. Not a great idea. Alright, so I think we need to move over here, right? Isn't there a door? Yeah, so that's where we need to go. Yep. Alright, this guard has a rectangular guard pattern. Let's wait for him to start coming this way, and then I'm just going to move up behind him and sneak into here. And here we go. That guard's got to be deaf not to hear that door open. It's so loud.
Then a prison train, such as this was, provided an ingenious loophole for my scheming captors. They slapped a fresh coat of paint on its rotting sides, and even went so far as to give it a rugged and exciting-sounding name, the Siberian Express.
This is a replica of the train that...
If the food was bad, the water was worse. Discolored to the point that someone must have dyed it on purpose, and the taste could only be described as septic.
Ugh.
Were it not for my robust constitution, I would have succumbed years ago to dementia from all the lead and other heavy metals in that toxic swill.
Master was held prisoner on.
My rations of stale bread and moldy cheese seemed especially cruel as our prison train crossed the Kama River into the foothills of the Ural Mountains. There, we passed one bucolic farm after another, every field dotted with plump Russian black-pied cattle. Never in my life have I felt so bereft. I would have committed the most heinous of crimes to have tasted the rich, salty goodness of their flesh. They forged me a pair of cold, gray leg irons to match the color of my eyes. A decidedly rare trait I believe I inherited from my idle mother.
It sounds like he suffered a lot, but I wonder if any of it's actually true. He's not exactly a trustworthy person, and I wouldn't be surprised if he came up with that just to make himself sound like a martyr or something. Okay, I think I've already been in here, right? Yeah, this is where I originally came from. I just went this way instead of going back this way. Alright, so what's through that door? And actually, you know, as a matter of fact, I could probably answer the security questions on the computer now that I've just listened to all these things. Just a single room, huh? Alright, well, let's check out the room first. Don't think I can hold the batteries, but let's try.
My pockets are full.
What was meant as a warning to Prizrak to be on the lookout for hiding precals is actually a good suggestion for the girl. Ducking behind the plant is a great way to escape detection.
It is so strange and coincidental that these posters are suggestions for things that I can do, isn't it? Oh, so very strange.
Idea. My battery was getting low.
Remind the girl to walk slowly.
Attention! A set of standard Prizrak fatigues have been swiped from the supply room. Base Exchange discovered the missing uniform and reported it to us. Recommend sweep of pre-cal dorms, and be aware of any suspicious Prizrak behavior. A set of missing Prizrak fatigues. Perhaps that was what the person who came in and tased, Mirai? So maybe it was not actually a Prizrak that was on my side, but maybe somebody who wasn't even a Prizrak and just got a hold of the uniform? Possible.
Welcome to my domain.
I should have a massive amount of stuff because of that secret room that I found. Oh yes.
See anything you like. Spot Prizrak through walls. Leaving so soon.
Okay, let's try our hands at these security questions.
That's more than I can handle.
To get into the headmaster's office upstairs, we will need his PIN code. I don't have it in my files, but we can recover it. We'll need to answer some security questions first.
What European city have you lived in? I'm not really sure. Berlin? Fuck! One more wrong answer and it'll be... oh, this one's easy. Gray. What was the last train company you booked passage with? Siberian Express, I guess? I mean, did he actually book passage with that, or was he just like a prisoner on it or something? Okay. What chronic illness were you recently diagnosed with? Shit. I don't know. Abort! Thank God. Oh no, it's still here. Shit. I don't know. Has he mentioned a chronic illness? I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember him mentioning one. Shit. What's the worst that could happen? Shit!
This looks good. I hope they can't see me here.
We're fine. We're fine. Let's try it again. What was the last train company you booked passage with? And this time I can actually afford to get it wrong. What did I go with? Heart disease? Let's try diabetes. It's fine. Wait, I got this one wrong too. Paris? Cool! Super secure password recovery system. Alright, Headmaster's pin code. Now, where do I actually use that? I guess it was just back, and more back, right? I mean, it wasn't anywhere in here, was it? I don't actually see it on the map. I just see level 2 doors. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so we gotta go back up. Okay. No, what do you... Go up the stairs, not... What are you doing? Gonna give me a heart attack there. Oh wait, is it just right here? Oh, that's convenient. Whoa.
I've been this way before. We're getting closer to the headmaster's
Threat level
office.
is back to normal.
Where are you going? Where are you going? Okay. We're good.
He is.
Why, librarian, you look like you've seen a ghost.
I see many ghosts on these walls. Why would you take pictures with monsters, and worse, display them proudly?
I have sat for pictures with many important people, even people I find disagreeable.
I suspect you mean me. How could you stand beside this man here?
Not a fan of the Generalissimo, are we?
I crossed an ocean to escape Franco's brutality, only to find his brand of fascism had been imported to Argentina.
Well, I can't speak to that, but I will say I found our meeting quite pleasant. He was an excellent conversationalist, and his taste in wine, impeccable.
Well, if he says pretty words and he likes good wine, then how can he be a bad person?
I'll hold on to this.
I think by the end of this, she's gonna have a whole library's worth of books in her pants.
Kafka's Metamorphosis. Best to keep using the German title. Die Verwandlung. We cannot risk cross-contaminating the name of our grand experiment with this simplistic trash. This book portrays the act of transforming one's essence as a vile and isolating experience. Such misinterpretation would burden our children with doubt toward our own ends. Squash this vile bug, librarian.
Alright, let's wait for him to come back down, then start going back up, and I think I'll pickpocket him. And probably hide in the bushes.
Everything looks good.
Let me just make sure I have pickpocket selected. Not pepper spray. Not my taser. Pickpocket.
I'll check his pockets.
Actually, it's gonna take her too long. Go into the bushes.
His hiding place looks good.
I'll pickpocket him when he goes back down.
I
Everything
hope
looks
they
good.
can't see me here.
Nothing to report.
Actually, he might see me when he's looking here. Yeah, he might. I'm gonna risk it. Let's just go. What? How did he see me? Ooh, looks like we have a hiding spot. Yes.
I can't carry anymore.
Okay.
No
we're good.
use hiding.
Let's see what he's got on it. Nice.
Everything looks good.
A Zager cassette.
Mir Mooney P takes me back in a big way. Back before the internet and FAQs, when we used to get stuck, we invested time into the game's systems enough to make the incomprehensible become familiar. Eventually, it all made sense. The payoff was worth it. Mir Mooney P wraps that nostalgic sentiment in a gorgeous package, if you can embrace the challenge.
Man, you know, I actually bounced off that game pretty hard. I did a couple videos on it, and at first, for like the first 20 minutes or so, I really liked it. And then I really didn't. And then the whole thing just ended up feeling... Well, there was a frustration barrier. At first it was interesting because I was coming to grips with the systems, and it was kind of fun because it's a very kind of tactile game where you can flip buttons and you just like press a bunch of switches in all these control panels, and you don't really know what they do. So it's fun to just flip them and explore and see what they do. But then there was a huge frustration barrier when I realized even after flipping all these buttons and pressing them, I didn't even know how to actually use them properly, which led to me not being able to really experience the game. I ended up having to look up online how the hell you're actually supposed to play the game, which was very annoying. And then once I actually learned how to play it, I found the whole thing felt just kind of pointless. Like, I didn't feel engaged by it. I didn't want to explore around its world because whatever I found, it just didn't feel meaningful to me. Looks like there's nobody up here. At least not on the balcony. Okay, a bunch of places to go. Obviously, I'm supposed to go to the Headmaster's office, but let's check out the side room first. To all Prizrak stationed in the library, Precal 933W is still at large. He may have found a way to disable his caller. We're confident he hasn't escaped, remains somewhere inside the facility. Sweep out old Zager hiding places. Oh my god, this place is gorgeous. Also, I find it annoying how it sometimes switches my camera. Like, sometimes I want to move her and then switch to a camera in a totally different place. And it often switches me back. Please don't do that, game. In fact, I wonder if there's an option for that. Wait, view controls, that's not... Oh, I guess you'd have to actually exit to the menu to change stuff. But yeah, this place is gorgeous. Look at this. Jesus. They put so much money into this place. Let's check his patrol route. Okay, simple enough.
Press rack.
We owe a debt of gratitude to those giants whose shoulders we've stood upon. The earlier they lived, the larger their stature, and so the greater our debt. While the 20s roared in America, they screamed like a Siberian windstorm in Vladimir's hometown of Simbirsk. A controversial man of the people, he was surely. And the fact that he spent time in political exile makes him that much more admirable, in my estimation. His detractors would call him an opportunist, and they would be right. But Yataro Iwasaki was given nothing less than the modest opportunity to bring an entire nation into the modern age, and he succeeded. The nerve of him. A personal favorite. For those who would criticize him for his monopolistic tendencies in the early 20th century, I say, shout it from the rooftops, or, barring that, hop online and voice your disdain in a chat forum. He would appreciate the irony. Her death in 1952 was a tragedy, not just for the Argentine shirtless who idolized her, but for the anti-Peronists who celebrated her demise. Christ had a similarly divided populace to contend with, and like Eva, succumbed to sacrifice at the age of 33. It is difficult to write a story as it unfolds, but to wait until it's finished is to risk butchering the telling of it. I would rather strain the wrists of those taking my dictation than cause even a modicum of butchering.
He has a statue for himself.
The father of Europe was besieged from all sides by pagan tyranny. And then in the year 800, he did a most remarkable thing. He held the hands of secularism and religion and married them together in what would later be called the Renaissance. Plato's keen eyes peered further into the future than any of his Grecian contemporaries. He was and will remain the most vocal supporter of the classic Republic and its earliest.
Let's go for the steal. I got something.
I see you have discovered one of my floppy disks. As a hardcore gamer, I collect many video games. Sadly, my fellow Prizrak torment me by stealing my prized collection. Can you assist the girl in recovering my lost floppy disks? It is not like you have a more important job to do.
Apparently I don't, because that's the only thing I get from the guard's pockets.
that statue light up? Something's wrong.
Ah, it's a puzzle. That's what I figured. I figured there was some reason that there was so much exposition in this room. I figured it kind of mirrored, what was it before? Mirai's room or whatever with the paintings? Yeah. Maybe I need to press them in order of their dates or something? I don't know. Some sort of another nonsense puzzle, I'm sure. I guess they're gonna make a habit of doing one of these per episode. So what am I trying to open? This. And it's currently locked? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I don't know about you, but I don't want to sneak around while trying to solve this puzzle, so...
Arming taser.
This may shock you, but I'm going to shock him. Let's get a good view of the action here.
I think we need to activate these statues in some kind of order.
I know. And zippity zoo.
The attack. Target neutralized.
Okay. Now, which one is the oldest? Be the BC one.
The father of you.
That might be the second one. Oh, crap, I
It
just
is
clicked out of the game.
difficult to write a story as it.
There we go. This one? This one.
Plato.
The statue's already activated.
Is it? Okay. So this is the next one, right? I think so. Round 700.
The statue lit up. I think we did something right.
Okay, I should be able to just... Yeah, I could just read the years. I'm assuming it's sorted by date of birth, not date of death. I don't know if they overlap too much, but... 1835... I think 1835 is the next one. That's this one, right? No. This one.
That worked. What's next?
I think the one right next to that one is the next one. Yeah, 1845.
A new statue lit up.
Alright, 1845. 1870 for Lenin. Yeah, so Lenin's the next one. This is complete nonsense.
That worked. What's next?
So 1870. Done. Done. Might be that one. Yeah, I think it's this one. Ava.
That worked. Let's try the next one.
Okay, almost there. That was 1919. I think there's only one left, right? Just the Headmaster himself? Right? Yeah, looks like it.
You've solved it. You're a natural at puzzles. Another giant pyramid. It's a taser.
Okay, that should allow us to do a lot of things. The first of which is to get into the Headmaster's office.
The Headmaster's office. I remember being here as a young girl. At least I think I was.
Wonder if we can find any dirt on him in here. It's another one of those surveillance owls.
Someone's coming.
Oh, shit.
What do I do?
Find somewhere to hide.
Unqualified disaster. And on the eve of the arrival, no less.
Everything is fine, sir.
Fine. You were assaulted by a Prizrak. And you let altered copies of the manifesto reach the
I
children.
have the situation under control.
I'm beginning to think your definition of control is different than mine. They don't respect you because you don't wear the uniform. It's a weakness. It puts you at risk. This is an historic night for us. There can be no room for error.
I understand.
Then you understand why Derringer will lead the arrival.
What?
Is he going to shoot her?
I'm sorry, my dear. We all appreciate the fine work you do with the kids. But you lost sight of what's most important. Protecting me.
So, I can lead the arrival.
Murray, you speak the language of diplomacy. Derringer speaks the truth. Truth hurts. This isn't a dismissal. Derringer will still need your help when we get reset.
Yes, sir. The mentor is an asset to our cause. I look forward to hearing her ideas going forward.
What's your step?
She's weak.
I hope that's all it is. Where was Murray when the Prizrak attacked her?
The section, outside the library. I'll look into it.
It's hard to know who to trust these days. It seems we're running a loyalty deficit around here. I don't mean you, Quinn, of course. I know I can trust you. Wait. I never forgot this before. Must be old age.
No chance, sir. You just got a lot on your mind tonight.
Quite so. Come, young man, let's get to the surface.
That's the door to the surface.
It sounds like that door leads to the surface.
So he has a gun on him, which means either he's planning something, he's planning a murder, or perhaps he's just worried about being attacked. But that does drive home the point that the people here, like all the guards and everybody, none of them have had guns. So for the most part, it seems to be a very... I'm not sure if non-violent is really the right word, but... You know, not a very lethal-oriented kind of form of oppression. For the most part, they just do it using, I guess... Do they even have batons? I'm not even sure what they have, actually. The guards. All they've done is kind of just grab her. I've never seen them use a weapon.
Librarian, may I come in?
Ah, Headmaster, welcome. Oh, ay, Dios mío, who is this fierce creature?
It's an Ainu owl, librarian. My ancestors carved these from the amber trunks of Japanese spindle trees. I want you to have this one. Modest housewarming gift, nothing more.
Well, muchas gracias, señor. It's a handsome piece. I shall place it here on this shelf.
No. Lend it a bit more prominence. It's meant to be set out in the open.
Ah.
This way it can bring you luck.
Well, it's...
The eyes. Yes. They are a touch piercing. That's the idea, you see. The owl is ever watchful. He will protect you day and night.
Ah, yes, well, it's truly, how can I...
Oh, you're welcome.
The Headmaster's making it a little bit obvious that it's a surveillance camera, isn't he? He almost outright told him. I mean, he hinted around it, like he beat around the bush so much that, like, there was no bush left. Don't think about that analogy too much.
Dormmaster faces swift reprimand. Mireille Prideaux found with contraband. Overseer, none of us are above the law.
Miss Sade, it has been a pleasure speaking to you, but I must get up early tomorrow.
Look, I'm turning off my tape recorder.
This is no longer an interview. We're just two people talking. Perhaps one more glass?
A short one, then.
Where do you get the wine from? I thought we weren't allowed contraband from the outside world.
Off the record? I've been here long enough. I'm allowed certain liberties.
You receive special treatment?
I know how big my cage is. At the end of the day, we are all equally inferior in the eyes of the Overseer. Don't you dare print that, Miss Sade.
I promise. Strictly off the record.
Gentlemen, I wish to resign. This is grossly inappropriate.
Inappropriate.
You are burning books. I have seen it with my own eyes. The books I procured for you.
Each book has been scanned into our servers and is now part of our digital catalog. You're merely hung up on nostalgia.
You are erasing history.
These books are my property now. I can do with them as I please.
No. I cannot be a party to this. I wish to leave immediately.
First you want to resign, now you want to leave?
I assume the implication was apparent.
You're not going anywhere.
You cannot keep me here against my will.
In fact, I can. You, like the books, are now property of the state. You will continue to fulfill your obligations to the pre-cals until I decide what to do with you.
I have a few suggestions, sir.
Jesus. Hopefully I can help him.
You just acquired a fingerprint from that glass. Normally, the Overseer wouldn't be so careless as to leave a usable print. But recently, in celebration of Zager's capture, the big man poured himself a stiff drink, and for a moment, let his guard down. Those pristine white gloves came off, and he was one of us for a day.
I took care of that thing for you. D. That's from Derringer. That thing.
Welcome back to Washington. How's the weather in your corner of the world?
What if I tell you, are you going to try to guess my location?
No, I've about given up on that. It's been insufferably hot in D.C.
Then why are we meeting here?
I'm sorry?
Why not do this on the island?
The island isn't built yet.
What? I was told construction began a month after the attack.
This is the U.S. government you're talking about. Maybe you've heard of us. Our contractors get paid twice as much to take twice as long.
Unbelievable.
Right this way, sir. Watch your step.
Please, sit. Coffee? I want a whistleblower.
Coffee?
I'm serious.
We can talk about that.
We're going to have to talk about that. If you want to hand the reins to someone who won't let the horse forget who's in charge.
I'm afraid I don't follow you.
That's your problem. You've got too many leaders and not enough followers. You should be following me. All of you should.
Okay, let's table that for a second. Say we get you a plant, and this plant blows his whistle in the year.
Or 2 months.
Or whenever. They're still not about to dismantle their entire surveillance infrastructure over some bad press.
I'm afraid you're right. This is where I need your help, Vice Admiral. If you get me on board and in command, then it won't matter how red their faces turn, or if they turn red at all. They won't have to privatize under pressure either. I'll already hold the reins. But we'll give it a name. Carnival. The Arrival. It doesn't matter. And we'll play act our way into the driver's seat.
I can't even imagine.
Leave imagination to me.
So the Arrival is more than just an announcement. What else is he planning on doing? What exactly did he mean? He wanted a whistleblower. He wanted a plant to dismantle the security surveillance system for what? I don't quite get what he meant by that. But I do know that he's obviously planning something more than just announcing the existence of this so-called state to the world. Is this a picture of what it looks like outside? Perhaps through the very door that he just went through? Also, look at that. The first tiny glimpse of the outside world, if you could even call it that. Rain. Obviously the door won't open, right?
The door's locked. I can't go any further.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, so where do I need to go? To the librarian's office. Okay, well, before I continue, I think this is a pretty good place to end the episode. So, I hope you've enjoyed so far, and when I return, I will go to the librarian's office.